Let me click. Got it for the recording. I bring greetings to all of you from the North American Division. May we all wrap up 2023 with hope and great plans for 2024. I'm sure we're already thinking about that, and I pray that you all will have God-filled desires and motivation and empowerment to move forward to 2024. And if you allow me, I will be sharing screen at this point. All right. Can you see the screen?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Yes.
All right. So I would like to first share with you the vision statement of the department that I serve with. It says, Adventist Chaplaincy Ministries serve North America and the world, collaborating with local unions and conferences through ecclesiastical endorsement, professional training, and advocacy to build strong bonds with our chaplains, bringing the Spirit of Jesus Christ wherever we serve. And the world is changing on us rapidly. We need to collaborate more than ever. So to build a better future, I believe that church pastors, chaplains, and educators need to collaborate and serve together to further the kingdom of God, bringing knowledge, hope, love, peace, and healing to whoever God places in our paths. And I believe that our leaders in our conferences, unions, churches, schools, and hospitals need to get together to plan strategically. And as we know, not only in Europe, but in North America, enrollments of our colleges, even academies, are down. And so after the pandemic, church attendance is also down. So this is a great time, a great opportunity for us to be more creative in thinking what ways we can provide care, spiritual care to everyone who needs God's love. And what a beautiful way to begin with just explaining chaplaincy and dive a little bit more into it. So today's agenda will be as follows. What is chaplaincy? What is professional spiritual care? I would introduce a little bit of the Clinical Pastoral Education learning model. We call it CPE, and a lot of people call it the spiritual boot camp. And we're also going to talk about the readiness. When are we ready to provide chaplaincy care? And I will be introducing two models so that we can use on a daily basis when we interact with our church members, with our students, with our friends and family members. And then let's see. The first thing we would like to talk about is, what is chaplaincy? What is professional spiritual care? And what is not? So I'll talk about what is first. It is to journey with others. It is to hold a sacred space for others. It is to access, to listen and affirm when appropriate. It is to offer tools to lower anxiety, nervousness, and intervene when spiritual crisis is observed. And it's also to connect people to God, meeting them wherever they are. And what is not chaplaincy? It is not to proselytize to people. A lot of times when people come to seek chaplains counsel or meetings, they are in a very vulnerable state. So it is not the opportunity for us to take that time to give out our agenda, but to connect with them and hear them out, to journey with them. It is not to share what we know and not to prescribe a solution to one's emotional or spiritual unease. And it is not to provide long-term Bible studies. Those are the task for church pastors and even teachers and educators. but the chaplain's job is to journey with them to make sure that they are connected to good resources, be it the Holy Spirit, God, or people in the community. And so I would like to first show this plan, this model to you. This is a model that when we were training as chaplains, we're very familiar with this, and we have to do it over and over and over again until we get it. And once we get it, then we can use it for our patient contact or client contact. So it begins with description. So for example, to make it a little bit more practical, I would like to use this model and also share a story with you. I encounter a young person who came to me and told me that she cuts herself, and eventually, if nothing changes, she might end her life. It was just about a few months ago. It was in the summertime. And so the first thing I have to do is to go internally and notice what is happening to me. Because this is not a very normal news. This is not a normal conversation. Am I ready for this conversation? Would I be blurting out things, try to rescue this person, to make myself more comfortable? So that's the first step. And the second step, I want to also find out, what am I feeling? What am I thinking? How is this news? How is this conversation going to affect me? Am I bringing any past experiences or memories that will alter what I'm going to talk to this person? And then after that, I need to evaluate the experience. So before I did that, I need to open up with questions. Why are you hurting yourself? What are you hurting? Who's hurting you? Why are you feeling this way? So there are questions that I asked her. And eventually she told me that she was only actually 13 or 14. She told me that 2 reasons after like half an hour of listening and journeying. First, her mother was very hard on her. Even though she gets A's, she still wants her to finish other curricular or other exercises so that she can get even A+ or better. And she felt very pressured. Second of all, her dad only comes home during the weekends. He works somewhere else. And so she feels very isolated and feel very just lonely because it's just her and her mom. There's no one to support her in the family. And another reason is she hangs out with very pretty classmates, according to her. And she doesn't feel up to par looking like them. And her mom doesn't believe in makeup, doesn't believe in jewelry, doesn't believe in nicer clothes. And so she felt very, what is the word? Ashamed sometimes when she's hanging out with her friends. And after we talked, and you know that we all are, I don't know about in the other parts of the world, but in the United States, we are mandatory reporters. So if we find that someone has a plan to end their life, we have to intervene. So I reported that to her mom, and the social worker is involved, and she is in a safer place, and her mom's now open to giving her counseling. So, and I still talk with her on a regular basis, and I think that she will be okay for a while if things keep going. The collaboration between her mom, dad, and the social services will continue to collaborate and work together for her. So going back to this model, after the conversation, or after a few conversations with her, I need to make sure that I evaluate, the situation. Was it a good or bad experience for me? Did I help this person? Was there anything triggered that make me feel inadequate, or am I satisfied in what I'm doing to help this young person? And then the next one is to analyze, what sense can I make of the situation? It might bring bigger situations to my mind. It might be, I'm angry at this world. I'm angry with parents because my parents were similar to her mom. So am I getting triggered from my own experience that, I feel the same way for a while like her, so all these things I need to analyze before I can move forward to the next step. And then after that, what could I do more? Could I do more? Could I do less? And sometimes when we are passionate about a situation, we might go full force and we might even go overboard. So I was thinking, am I being overboard? Did I cross any boundaries as a chaplain? So those are the things that was in my mind. And the last thing is, if that situation arose again, if I had to talk to another person with a similar situation, would I do the same? Would I do anything differently? I have to think about that. And then once all those things are analyzed or reflected upon, then I'm ready for the next time, for the next job again. I feel that every time when God gives us a specific task to do, we need to carefully go through these kind of steps so that every time we can reflect and act, and then reflect more and then act. So then our spiritual care skills will be perfected in the long run. It is also helpful to use this model on our family members, our friends, our students, and church members. Every time we interact with a person, these are the things that is helpful for us to go through in our mind and also internally, so that next time we have a better skill sets for others. Having said that, my experience that even though I had the passion to help others in a more intimate way, before I had my training, I was not ready. And what I consider being ready is to think and to ask myself, am I ready to process my own feelings, my own hurts, my own wounds before caring for others? I have two pictures here. The first one is pretty much like me here. Before I get formal training, or before I was open to God's guidance in spiritual care, I was like this mess. All kinds of knots and things are entangled, enmeshment, everything here. I couldn't even help myself, not to mention helping others. But when I started to be willing to unlearn some of the things that I've learned, even back from my early years, until I'm willing to unlearn, I cannot find a way to get out and be able to help others. And once I find that I'm willing to be humble and unlearn and continue to learn, then I think God will do the rest. It is like we all are like masterpieces. God has to purify our impurities before we can fully function as a caregiver or educator or pastor or chaplain. So I would like to also share another model. This model is from Loma Linda University, where I used to serve at. And so this is a clear model. It's very simple. If you like to take pictures or go back to visit it, it's perfectly fine. This whole model can be done in 1 minute. I don't know if you've heard of an elevator speech, this or an elevator encounter. So I've done this in one elevator setting, or this could expand to an hour when we talk to someone deeply. So this is a model that can go with quick conversations or lengthy conversations. So CLEAR stands for connect, listen, explore, acknowledge, and respond or refer. So the first thing is, when we see someone we don't know really well, we need to build trust and rapport. And we need to make them feel like we are on their side, listening to their story, not giving them advice, but journeying with them next to them. And the second one is listen. We hold a sacred space for them to pour out their hearts without interruptions, without putting in our feedback, but just listen as long as it requires. I have tried to listen to a hospice patient's husband venting how difficult it is to take care of his wife. And when I look at my watch after he finished, it was about more than 90 minutes. He just went on and on. And in the meantime, I was very nervous. I was asking God, like, God, what am I supposed to say? But if you're not giving me any answers, I'm just going to sit here and listen. And at the very end, he says, thank you so much. This is what I needed. Just someone to listen to my difficulties. So at the end, I didn't give any solutions, but somehow he was helped and he felt connected and accepted and affirmed. The next one is explore. At this time, we would like to look for meaning. I will give an example. There was a student from a public campus that I volunteered to be their interim chaplain. This person, when we were walking, he came to me and says, hi, I was a student here before, but I'm just coming to join. I know nobody here. This is my first time. And I said, oh, so we were talking. And I said, so this is a pretty nice university. So did it give you a leg up for your career right now? I normally don't ask those kind of questions, but somehow I felt impressed to ask that question. And he says, no, actually, the very last year of my time here, I got D's and F's. And so it didn't serve me really very well. And then he went on to tell me the trauma that he encountered the very last year of his college time. And so I sat there and listened and held a space for him. After he said everything, and I share a little bit of my experience, I says, yes, I feel the same way sometimes when things are not lining up or whatever, it is very difficult. And I have also bad experiences. I got bullied too by people when I was younger. But I felt that God had used the good and the bad and the ugly together to fuel my inner self so that I can even shine brighter for him. And then when I said that, he said, it clicks. I am feeling the same way. I want to use everything that was not done right to me to help others to have a better life. And then we hugged. It was so nice. And then I affirmed him. I said, yes, I think, by God's grace, we both can do that. And that was the last conversation. And we plan to meet again in a week or two. So these are the precious conversations that I could share with others using the CLEAR model. And the next one I would like to share is FLAT. It is an assessment tool that could carry us to deeper conversations. And when we ask right questions, we can get deeper answers and more understanding of what the person's needing. And this works for ourselves too. Sometimes when I encounter a difficult situation, I would use those questions for myself as well. So FLAG stands for fear, longing, aching wounds, and gifts obstructed. So first of all, I would actually like to maybe use an example to talk about this, so it'll be easier to understand. So half a year or so ago, I talked with this gentleman, and he was sharing with me that he hates changes. He doesn't like to change, even though there are better opportunities for him for his work. He would like to just prefer to stay in the current situation, even though they were mistreating him. He would like to stay there because he doesn't like the change. So I was curious. So I was wondering, why is he so afraid of changes? And so when I asked more questions, when I listened more, I found out that he's actually not only afraid of changes, he's afraid of the unknown. And so when I asked him what is so scary about the unknown, then he told me that it was because he's afraid of failure. He doesn't know whether he will thrive or fail in the next assignment. So the fear of failure kind of immobilized him. And then when we talk more and explore more with him, I figure out that what he was longing was, even though if he is even though if he fails, he would like for others to still love him the same, to see him the same way. So meaning, when he was young, he said that when he failed to do a task, actually when he was a Bible boy at the age of 3 or 4, he refused to go out because it was scary to him, and his dad actually slapped him really hard, and he was supposed to get a toy from his dad, and he didn't get it, and so that was still haunting him till today. So we figured out that his fear was from long time ago, the trauma that he had. And so the next thing we explored was his aching wounds. He was telling me about how painful it is to always be afraid of being a failure. Even though he's a successful person, he's still scared of failing at any point. So another question that we can explore is, or to notice, what are the gifts that has been obstructed with this fear? What kind of strength and capacity that God has given to the person? But when they are discouraged or stifled, how should we nurture them? So then when we talk more, we figure that God actually loves people who are failing or not. When we look back in different stories, the prophets, and and different leaders from the Bible, they all at some point fail, and God still used them. When I share that with him, it reminded him that he actually still has a lot of hope, because even the people in the Bible would do that. So for him, he says, it gives him a lot of hope to think that he's also okay. So when I use those questions, it can help people to go deeper and deeper into their maybe a superficial fear, into their deeper fear, and understanding where did that fear come from? Where did that discomfort, or blockage come from? And once we figure that out, then we can help them by sharing whatever it is. Every time is different. It's kind of hard to pinpoint, but to share some encouragement and empowerment to them. I'm not trying to fix their problems, but sharing hopefully our stories and some of the things that they are familiar with, to encourage them and give them the voice and the support. So these are some of the things that I normally use when I do spiritual care. I hope that these are the things that will be helpful to you. Maybe I'm preaching to the choir. Maybe you already have that skill. And I would like to, at the end, hear some of your experience, how you help others in in providing spiritual care as well. So, come to an end, I would like to share that the key to success in spiritual care is self-care. It is simply good stewardship of the gifts we receive from God to offer to others. When we do not take care of ourselves, we will never be able to provide good care. And I'm showing two pictures here. The first two on the top, I took it a long time ago in Philadelphia. It resembles resiliency. When I look at the tree is already cut off. It was only a stump left. But then there was a branch that just came out from the stump. And I felt that this is just a great analogy for us when us or when our loved ones or when our students or our church members who had some extreme trauma or difficult experiences, we can still, by nurturing them, by showing care and love, we can still help them to grow despite of the difficulties. So our goal is to help them to bounce back with compassion, clarity, creativity, openness, and connecting with others and God. And if we are the one who are injured, I would also like for us to consider caring for ourselves enough so that we can bounce back with compassion, clarity, creativity, openness, and be able to connect again. And the bottom picture is one of my favorite. I have it hanging in my office. The elephant is God, and the little creature, I think it's a dog, it's me. Even though the elephant is so big and I am tiny, we can sit next to each other all the time. And our tails are kind of pointing to each other, meaning that we are connected. And we can sit there and talk about anything in our lives. And this reminds me of how great a God I serve. And with a big God like that, we can all conquer anything. And so I just want to share this with you. Hopefully this would be a little bit helpful, but I would like to also learn from you guys and see what your experience is. And I would like to thank you, and this is my presentation.
Thank you so much, Angela. We really enjoyed that presentation. Thank you for blessing us with those perspectives.
Welcome.
I would like to open it up, and there's some lovely comments coming up on the chat. Keep those comments coming as you engage and affirm Angela this evening. I'd like to open it up for some Q&A. Any questions that you have, any comments that you have that you'd like to put to Angela, and I'm sure she'll be happy to engage. So we open the floor, so to speak, now for some questions or comments.
Hello, Angela. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
So yeah, sorry, I haven't got a camera connected. I'm sorry. So
that's fine.
I'm a retired pastor, and I'm volunteering as a hospital chaplain. I've only done it for a few months, and I did a few months training with the hospital, and that was really useful. And by the way, what you said tonight, the clear and the flag, that was very, very helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
But I feel I would like to have more training, and I've struggled to find material specifically on hospital chaplaincy. And of course, in England, it's very different to the States. I did do a bit of training in the States, in Florida, in the Adventist hospital. And of course, that's very different to here. Here, nearly all the people I see are secular. But I would like some more training. Have you got any idea of some books or anything I can do to give me more skills?
Yes, I can. There are many books, but they are also more for the US context. But I will look and see which ones that I would send you. But I can send it to Kyle. I'll write it down so that he can email it to.
Oh, thank you. All right, thanks. I'll email. I'll put on the chat to Kale my my deed. But by the way, Kale, forgive my interest. I don't even know you. Are you the Ministerial Association Director?
Jonathan, I'm the Education Director for the division.
Okay.
and I help out in both the mission portfolio and the ministerial portfolio as well. But my primary role is education director.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Murray, did you have a question, comment?
Yes, mate. Just in response to Jonathan's question, we've just appointed only about a month and a half ago a union coordinator. Now I coordinate all our school chaplains, as you know, but
Yes.
we've just appointed Ken Duke as our hospital chaplain coordinator for all of Australia, all our union. So what I'll do is in the chat, I'll put both my email and also Ken's email. And Ken has been in the business for a long while as hospital chaplain, and he's got a lot of goodies. So, and he also has just started to produce a monthly newsletter. So if anyone's interested, we can certainly lean on Ken to share his stuff, far and wide. He'll have no problems with that at all.
Fantastic. Thank you, Murray. We appreciate that. And Ken is a very good bloke, so very good move from the union's perspective. Any other questions or comments you have at this stage for Angela?
Hi, everyone. Angela, thanks for that presentation.
Thank you.
My question has to do with the self-care. I think it's quite really disturbing after you've traveled or journeyed with an individual and, you shut the door behind you after the day and you back home, and sometimes it's difficult to let go. And you probably don't have no one to, share days with. You probably think your partner who you could probably cry on the shoulder and so on is not even strong enough to contain those things you want to share. How do you deal with this? Yes, I know God is there. How do you deal with this? I'm a hospital chaplain here.
If I hear it correctly, you would like to see how you can find support when times are difficult in ministry. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. I always believe in a chaplain needs a chaplain and a pastor needs a pastor. So just like our church members or students or anyone, we always need to have a person that can be our pastor, that can be our chaplain. So sometimes it could be mutual. You can connect with others and say, you be my chaplain, I'll be your chaplain. So you have that confidentiality, you have that trust that you can share with each other. But without that, it is a very lonely ministry because it is hard to just find anyone to share our burdens, and it's not safe either. For me, I have a privilege of my current pastor that I could go to him whenever I need some help, I need to pray together. So we all have to find one person that in our lives that can continue to do that together whenever we're doing ministry. Does it make sense? It sounds easy, but it's not, because sometimes it's not easy to find that one person. And I would say our spouse is not our pastor, our spouse is not our chaplain. And sometimes we use them, but for the long run, we have to find someone.
Thank you, Angela. Angela, we have a question in the chat, and from Teens of Faith Prayer Force. How do we deal with addiction, etc.?
This is a very big and normal question. I think addiction. So this is how. So I feel that I actually not feel. I have learned that abandonment, trauma, rejection, hurt, abuse, anything that happened, especially in our childhood times, will create some type of protections in us so that we don't want to feel that deep hurt again. So it could manifest into anger, isolation, addiction, all kinds of addiction, to compensate, to distract us from the hurt. So to help to deal with addiction, we need to go back down to the very beginning of time. When was that hurt or originate? What kind of trauma did that person experience? It could be something very simple. It could be one time, that the one parent or an adult was really harsh on this person, or chronically this person's been bullied when he or she was young. It could be anything, but we need to first not judge or place a label on that addiction, because we have to know that those manifestations are coming from within, that they are trying to cope with the trauma that they have. And so once we find out the trauma and heal their trauma, it might take a while, it may take however long. Once that trauma is healed, and once they have a voice to tell the story and receive empowerment, then the addiction will slowly go away on its own. That's my experience.
Thanks, Angela. We appreciate that. Any other questions or comments you'd like to raise at this point?
Carol, if I might just add,
Please.
to the previous question, sometimes not just addiction, but depression. I have learned that depression is not always a sickness. It's also a gift from God for our body to rest. When we have overwhelming experiences in our lives that we cannot handle, our body kind of automatically go into a rest mode. So sometimes the symptoms of depression is also a signal for us to rest, because that's what our body is telling us to do.